COVID virus was so serious. It was so serious that people are now getting vaccines for basic flu or colds uh, because when the COVID pandemic came, it became okay for people to get vaccines, which in German you say Wakushing. Hello, Lou. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How
Good.
are
We're just
you?
pretty good. Pretty good. It was a nice day in Japan. Yesterday was crazy heavy typhoon rains,
Mm.
kind of serious. Um, Today is much better. At least the water can go down. It was kind of terrible yesterday. So all right, so let's see. How many members do we have? We have six. Six people are here already. We have Ellis and Lou and Bam and Ryoko and Tintin. Oh, I didn't say hello to Ellis. Ellis, how are you? Ellis with her cool sunglasses. Ellis, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Thanks for coming. Are you having a good Sunday?
Yeah, it's not worse.
Yeah. Hey, Ellis, tomorrow, Monday, is school for you. Do you look forward to going to school?
Yes, I like going to school.
That's good to hear. That's really good to hear. Yeah, I'm happy for you. It's nice. Okay. I don't know. For adults, some people say, oh, Monday I have to go to work. But it's good to see you're still happy to go to school on Monday, Ellis. Adults say, oh, I'm so tired after a long weekend, right? I need one more day of rest. Ellis, you know what's strange? I lived in Saudi Arabia and they have no Sunday holiday. So Friday and Saturday are the holidays. So you have to work on Sunday. And it was really strange for me to work on Sunday in a really cold, air conditioned classroom. And the students were pretty sleepy after Saturday night because the young men, age 20 at the college, they would stay up with they have huge families, Ellis, with like eight brothers, eight sisters. So they have their own houses in the desert and they play computer games and drink coffee and they stay up really late on Saturday night. So on Sunday, they were always sleeping in my class, Alice.
Yeah.
And these are big guys, they're really big guys. So the manager of the school said, push them and tell them to wake up. So I can't do that. I'm not like a sports coach who tells everybody to wake up. Okay, more people are coming. I'm just going to drink a cup of tea. Mm. I'm drinking Ceylon tea. I'll put this in the chat. Ceylon tea. I wonder if Ceylon tea is popular in Vietnam. Let me ask V and Lou, because you're adults if you drink tea. Lou, is Ceylon tea popular in Vietnam? From Sri Lanka. It's actually from Sri Lanka, south of India. Ceylon tea.
Ceylon.
Yeah, it's like red tea, red colored tea.
Green tea, green tea, right?
Oh, you're a green tea person. Ceylon is like red color, red or brown color. It's really delicious. So that's my favorite. Sri Lanka tea. Well, actually, it's Ceylon tea. Ceylon. So Ceylon's the old name. The new name is Sri Lanka. But I wonder, they must send a lot of it to Vietnam for people who like red, sort of British tea. Yeah. Kevin, good to see you. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. I told the students I'm drinking my Ceylon red tea on Sunday evening in Hiroshima. Yesterday was really stressful because after the typhoon hit Taiwan, the rain clouds moved north to Japan, and it was crazy. There was 270 millimeters of rain in Western Japan, and so that's about 27 centimeters of rain in 24 hours. So I was on standby to leave my house. Yesterday, I had all these messages from the Japanese government. It was very stressful yesterday because we live right next to a mountain and there have been landslides where all the earth comes down in the last 10 years. So it makes me very nervous. All right.
So I see you. Are you okay? And very happy to hear.
Yeah, I'm
So
just
then
happy.
everything is okay.
Yeah, everything is okay. I'm
Yeah,
happy today because yesterday was too stressful. So today is a sunny day. It's a good day. Thank you, Kevin.
good.
Let's see, Bao Quan Tron. Bao, are you there? Should check your microphone, Bao.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm very good.
Do you like, oh, you changed to Elvin. Your name Bao is pretty cool though, Elvin. I like that name, Bao.
Um,
Is that pronunciation okay? B-A-L, Bao?
Actually, my name is Juan, and when I dive into Zoom, it's always Balkan Chan.
Ah, okay. So the name is Quan. You use your mother or father's account?
No,
How'd you get?
I don't know when I just joined Zoom. It's always like that. And I'm
Yeah.
too lazy to change my display name before I joined the Zoom.
Elvin, you're an intelligent guy. I told the class the story of Albert Einstein, the great genius. When he was at Princeton University, he would sit under trees and just think. And the newspaper reporter said, Mr. Einstein, Dr. Einstein, you never tie your shoes. Your shoes are always untied. And he said, it's too easy to tie my shoes. I'm too lazy to tie my shoes because I have these important things to think about. I don't worry about tying my shoes. So, Elvin, if you're intelligent, you don't have to worry about doing things like that, right? You could say, I'm a genius. I don't have to think about these things. That's my advice to you. Okay, you guys, you did a wonderful job on your work. And FOM, it's difficult for FOM to communicate, I think, by microphone. I wanted to use FOM's work for tonight, and I'll show you why it's really good that she took the time to really write this nice essay. And let me show you it for tonight. I'll put the share screen on. Tonight, we're going to do the citations or notations where you give support to your ideas in your writing to online references that are what are called credible, C-R-E-D-I-B-L-E. Credible means they're well accepted, that these are good sources. They're not false sources that are just on the internet, that someone has created information that's not so good. These are generally really good sources. So tonight, this is the objective: analyze academic sources for your supporting evidence in your writing. But then the big word is credibility of your sources. Make sure they're good, credible sources. So for tonight, I provided 3 sources that are really credible because they're well known, and you can see that the people are called the academic researchers. They have discussed these things in depth. And so you know that this is good source. These are good sources, right? And then multiple sources. I put at least 3 sources, and I wanted to use FOM's work for today. Tintin, also, we could use your work too, because you talk about around the world in the oceans, fishermen are taking too many fish. It's called overfishing. We can find some sources for that too. And all of these sources will help you to support what you are writing paragraph by paragraph. So let's first start with this here. This is, let me read the introduction for you. For this week's lesson, I would like to focus on FOM and others outlines, Tintin's ocean fishing regulations from last week. In the comments for FOM's work, I suggested expanding the idea that less military violence or civil wars fighting inside countries and violence in general in the early 21st century has resulted in longer lifespans for human beings all over the world. Let us first examine FOM's essay where the expansion on paragraph number 3 is necessary. The main point being made is valid or a good one because it can be supported from sources. I have at least 3 sources to help FOM. The reason I chose this particular essay is there's been a decline in global violence, and that was a key point in my own master's studies about 5 years ago. It's called Strategic and Security Studies around the world. And the professors, 3 of them, all said that there was less violence in the world, but recently the violence is going back up. Let me show you how I chose that in FOM's essay here. You can see it in her own writing. And let me get this one for FOM here. One moment, please. And let me open the folder. Where is the folder? I need the resources. One moment, please. I'm having a hard time opening this folder. It's not opening. Very strange. Let me try. the Word document. One moment. Okay, corrected. Let's see, outline AW, corrected. I think this is probably it. This is probably FOM. Inflation. No, that's Tintin. Tintin, I promise we'll do yours. Let me find out. Let me go back to here for a moment. I'll go back to the original Zalo and get the corrected version of FOM's homework. Okay, so FOM, where are you?
Hi, I'm here.
Oh, you can use your microphone, FOM. Okay.
Okay.
Last week there was a problem, wasn't there, or something?
Yeah,
Okay.
my phone was broken down, so I have
Ah,
to fix it.
okay. So let's see. We have the Lunar New Year. V did child development. Tintin did fishing around the world. Too much fishing, actually. And here's FOM. This is your work, FOM. Let me see. Oh, I see. This is. I now I know why I can't find it, FOM. It was in a Google document. This is why. Now I have to be careful because sometimes I get knocked out of Zalo when I open that. So knocked out of Zoom. Sometimes Zoom does weird stuff, as I mentioned before. Okay, so this is FOM's, and it's in Google Chrome. And FOM was addressing the issue of life expectancy. Why life expectancy, quality of life and the number of years are longer. Let's see, she wrote cause and effect of essay of increasing life expectancy. Our human lives are getting longer. So FOM wanted to explore why that is, what factors are making us live longer. But also this is a really good essay, FOM, because you ask the questions, what problems does it also create, people living a really long life? So we go through all of that. It's really interesting. But then I got to the point where I put this one here. It says, moreover, the element of time is another factor that we should take into consideration. It is a blessing that the majority of the 21st century citizens are less likely to suffer from war and its casualties than people belonging to the other past times. As a result, people's expectancy is longer. So here you wrote to other past times. FOM, we could maybe change this to let's change this here to people living in the 20th century, because that was an incredibly violent century. That was one of the most violent centuries in human history. I think it was the most violent because at least 120 million people died of wars during the 20th century. It's just unbelievably violent everywhere. So my comment here is if you could change this to a whole paragraph and then expand, make it about 3 to 5 sentences longer. And you can do that by using a source. And so I found a source for you, FOM. It's, let me go to it. It is Understanding. Is this the one? Well, here, this is the United Nations. This is very good. You could use this. Understanding the complexity of armed violence in the 21st century. And this is very good. Its main point is armed violence has become progressively more complex over the last 3 decades, from the year 1990 to about 2020. Not only has the number of wars decreased, so war is down, it has also become increasingly difficult to distinguish between armed conflicts and contexts that are shaped by regular incidences of violence and crime without being considered in official statistics. So I mention all of this because, let's see if I can find, that's data. Let's see, that's not quite what I want. This is the one I want. Okay. This is from the University of Uppsala in Sweden, and this is where they show tables of the violence. Now, if you look here, this was starting in 1975. Violence really decreased by 2017, but now it's back up. It's up a lot because there are all these new situations around the world where there is violence within the country. So it's not big wars between people, but it's violence between countries. not violence between countries. It's violence within a society, and so that's the big distinction. So for three sources, Fam, I found this one is the Uppsala, and that's how it's spelled, Uppsala Conflict Data Program. And then I also found the United Nations here, and then this one called World in Data. So all three of these are really good sources that you could use in your essay. Let's see. Any questions from? Yeah.
I mean, like, thank you a lot, because I haven't done much research in this. Why, like, I writing this. At first I thought I just wrote in the 19th century.
Yeah.
But then I feel like I don't know how to compare, because the first paragraph I had already used an example. So
Yeah.
I feel like I shouldn't add more example to this one, because I feel my essay had already been like long enough.
Yeah, that one paragraph you could expand. You could just throw in a quote from the Uppsala in Sweden, Uppsala University. Like you said, this is all violence down, violence down. And then what's disturbing is that this is up. This is non-state violence, means fighting inside a country, like in Myanmar. There's the civil war there going on. The red one is state-based violence. That would be Russia in Ukraine, or Israel in Lebanon, and also the Gaza, the West Bank. One-sided violence, I'm not quite sure what that means. But if you click on any of these, by the way, they'll give you like state-based violence. Do you see the countries right there? It flashes. It's a really cool chart. So you could actually, oh, they put Vietnam there now. Why did they do that? Right. Why is Vietnam there? I'm curious why they put Vietnam state-based violence.
State-based
You guys might not. Do you know why that would be, anybody? I don't know.
No.
I know. Isn't that a little bit like
It's
almost surprising, right? Yeah. And also Oman. Oman is pretty peaceful. I don't know why they put Oman. Let's see, they put Bolivia for non-state violence. That means high crime levels. But then they also put Canada. So I don't even know. Some of this data is strange, but Uppsala is well respected. Hey, hello, how are you, Rick? Good to see you. All right, so tonight we're talking about sources, quality sources, Okay. Let's see. By the way, I just want to show you a point. If you have to use violence in the world for research you are doing, Uppsala is really strange. They changed their numbers here. Hey, Rick, can you read this one for Uppsala? Because I'm drinking my tea tonight.
Yes. Uppsala University in Sweden. Specifically, the Uppsala Conflict Data Program, UCDP, defines a conflict as severe when it meets certain intensity threshold. For a conflict to be classified as such, it must result in at least 25 battle-related deaths per calendar year. However, for it to reach the classifications of a war, it must surpass 1,000 battle-related deaths within a single year. This threshold helps categorize conflicts by severities and allows researchers to monitor conflict trends globally.
Yeah. So to describe something as a war, it has to be 1,000 or more battle deaths per year.
Yeah.
But if it's just 25, they call it civil unrest or civil problems. And that happens in a lot of African countries where there is fighting over small pieces of land by farmers. And they use that to show if there's climate changes causing some stress in the East Africa, especially, where there are dry conditions. So farmers begin to kill each other over how they will grow vegetables, or if they let the animals eat the grass, they can actually start firing at each other with weapons. Okay, so there are just three right there. So Fama, if you needed to. Now, Fama, I mentioned these because you could have a professor who looks at your paragraphs and says, okay, Fab, you have to prove to me that this is actually violence. There are always professors like that, Fam. So when you have to defend,
I see.
you know.
I mean,
so,
like, yeah, thanks to your recommendation, I will like try to add more to that and make
Yeah,
it become a paragraph.
yeah, you could expand to a paragraph.
Yeah, I will
Um,
do research on all the source you give me and then like
okay. So
thank
this
you.
is really good, Fam. I really like it. Fam, your microphone is working. Can you read like one paragraph to show the students? Your writing's quite good.
I mean, like I see a lot of like small mistake here.
Yeah, but if you look at the green, it's just I use words like accompanying because
Okay.
I'm a proofreader also besides a teacher, so it's comfortable for me
Yeah.
to use those words.
Okay.
Okay.
So I have to read this one.
Yeah, read it because it's good to hear the rhythm of your reading voice for work that you wrote out.
Okay. Nevertheless, apart from the surface effect of extending lifespans of overpopulations and population aging are two dire consequences that longer lifespans bring about. Overpopulation is an utmost important matter that needs addressing ever since the fertility rate began decreasing, accompanying with accompanying the fact that people live longer, society has to bear more burdens from not only the newborn but also a myriad of the elderly. In other words, the more and more overcrowded population become, they add more pressure to limited resources like food, energy, and accommodation that seems overloaded as it is. Worse still, the striking imbalance in the society ratio between workers and retirees, Michael's population aging, straining national budgets. The serious lack of young labor has the potential to directly cut down on a national budget revenue, whereas an adequate youthful rate labor force
Hmm.
still function to cover welfare and pay pensions for considerable amount of senior citizens. If the financial shortage lasts in the long term, a nation could not finally end up in economic crisis.
Yeah, I really like this paragraph. So for V and Lou and Rick, you study finance. So you must know that Vietnam's labor pool for young people is actually the healthiest, one of the healthiest in Asia. Taiwan, Korea, and Japan are all struggling with a lack of young workers, and the populations are getting older. So we might ask that as a question for everybody there. What FOM has written here is that you have to have a good youthful labor pool because if you expand lifetimes, there are all kinds of old people. So FOM, this is why I love this word you wrote, myriad elderly, because myriad means different kinds of elderly people, a whole different mix. And this has become really true. Like Japan, you have people in their 90s, people in their 80s, and people in their 70s. That's 3 decades or 30 years of people who are no longer in the labor force. So they need a base of youthful people to support that 30 years of myriad of elderly. An excellent choice of words, by the way, Fab. So let me ask our finance people, our economics people, V and Lou and Kevin and Rick, is this a true statement that Vietnam is probably in a better position for young workers than other nations in Asia? What do you think? What's your impression from reading articles and data? V, what do you say? Is Vietnam in a healthy condition to support the older populations as they retire?
The generation is stuck.
Uh, oh, V, it's hard to hear. Your microphone has a problem or something. I caught only a little bit of it. V, if there's a microphone problem, if you want to write your response in chat, that's okay. We do that with some students. That would be fine. Let's go to Lou. Lou, I thought you were a teacher. You said, no, I'm also accounting finance, right?
Yeah,
Okay, I'm sorry about that. So is this true that Vietnam is in a healthy position with enough young people as a labor pool?
in my opinion, the young population in Vietnam is need to improve the skill, soft skill,
Okay.
and actually, I saw that the young population have opportunity to absorb the study abroad. So yeah, and so the knowledge or the knowledge or major is okay, but the soft skill or the self motivate is not good. It's not better than the own population on the like
Oh,
it's AH or
uh-huh.
7H.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
mentioned
interesting.
the younger people in the 9H or G generation, something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. Um, uh, they they quite like to the trend jobs so much.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. And they want to
uh,
show up.
uh.
Yeah. Um, it's my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kevin, what do you think?
Sure. I think young generations in Vietnam have more the opportunity to approach the news and knowledge from all the world,
Yeah.
especially when they have a lot of tools such as internet, uh, online courses, and they can to approach the new knowledge from all over the world, and especially with the international standards.
Uh,
So they can to adapt up to the international standard from the international markets, and they
okay.
can and I think they have the enough quality to provide for the international markets.
Okay. Very
Yeah.
good. Nice, Kevin. Great response. All right. Let's go to there's the other person. I always enjoy Rick's Rick, I don't say opinions, you actually support your opinions with facts. So Rick, what do you think? This is part of our correct source for everybody. Are you there, Rick? Let's go to Rick. If your microphone's okay, Rick. Oh, okay. Something happened to Rick's mic. Oh no. Let's see. Okay, so I put some stuff in there, some notes for you. Okay, now there's another paper I want to go to. It's from Tintin, and Tintin's not feeling well. So, Tintin, we can work together on this one. So I want to go to your writing here, Tintin. Let me make sure I get the right file for Tintin. On, oh, what is it, Tintin? It's fishing, overfishing the world's oceans.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice work on that, Tintin. Because Tintin, as you notice in the notes, let's see, yeah, there it is. I wrote in the notes that you could go in any direction with this outline. Your outline is flexible, Tintin, so you could add to this as much as you want for each body paragraph. So for example, Tintin asked the question, should inflation on daily goods be a bad thing? And then you wrote the daily goods are necessary items used for survival, which humans rely on their everyday life. Inflation can cause major problems on poorer places or families. So that's one argument for this topic here, number one. Tintin, this is also something you could find in the United Nations. So for this one, Tintin, I'm just going to quickly do a search for you with the United Nations. And the main argument there is inflation has major problems for poorer families. During the pandemic, this became a really important issue, Tintin. So we can easily go to the Google and share this one. And let's go back, and I'm just going to start a new Google search here. Let's see, for Tintin. Effects of post-pandemic inflation on impoverished populations. Now, Tintin, you're going to find a lot of really good stuff on this because it's such a, what's called a hot topic, right? And these are just main points. I see some finance words in here too. This is interesting for our finance people. It says inflation can have a significant impact on impoverished or poor people populations, including reduced purchasing power. When inflation increases the cost of goods and services, but wages, salaries remain the same, people have less money to buy things. Higher costs for necessities, low-income households without much money are often more affected by higher food, energy, and utility costs. Utility is electricity, water, gas, internet, Wi-Fi. Liquidity constraints. Low-income households often have less liquid financial assets. This one is really interesting, Tintin and everyone, because in America, the liquidity is a really serious problem. There was some statistics that many Americans don't even have $500 to pay an emergency bill. They don't have $500 in the bank. So huge parts of the American population are actually quite poor, even though the economy is doing really well. And late payments, low-income households are more likely to be late on paying their bills. And so this causes a lot of finance service charges. Okay, so Tintin, if you said, how could I get a source? This one is excellent, the World Bank. Our finance people probably know of this one. So Tintin, I'm going to go to this website and pandemic, prices, and poverty. Tintin, if you needed a source for your work, this would probably be an excellent source. I'll tell you what, Ellis, you like to read. Ellis, can you read this here?
Okay, the world's poorest has faced two extraordinarily difficult years. The pandemic had caused unpredicted reversal in poverty reduction that are further exacerbated by rising inflation and effect of the war in Ukraine. We estimate that combined crisis will lead to an additional 75 million to 95 million people living in extreme poverty in 2022. Compared to pre-pandemic projections, if the pessimistic scenario plays out, 2022 will be the second worst year in the term of progress made in reducing extreme poverty this century.
Yeah.
Behind only 2020, there then were an actual increase in global poverty.
Yeah. So, you know, governments around the world are trying to get the really super poor people population reduced. But since the pandemic and the war in the Ukraine, this has become really difficult to do. There are some really hungry people. Now, this was written in April 2022, right when the Ukraine war started. So it could be the situation improved. So if you're using a source, always check that date just to see if it's the most recent one, because situations change so fast, right? So Tintin, what I would do, I highlighted all of this, and let's go back to your original work. Well, it's in the notes for today's class. I wrote for Tintin here. So Tintin, I like this quote, and I'm going to make this Tintin's point number one, or response number one. Possible topic number one. I think you talked about this, okay? So this is the paragraph. I put it here. And I paste in the whole paragraph because I think that's a pretty good paragraph. It's really good. And this is good to have if you're writing. So we're going to make that smaller, of course. Then Tintin, it's also important to paste in the source, because if you're putting together all these notes, one thing that's kind of terrible is when you're doing research for your writing, Fam, you probably know this. It's easy to forget. You say, where did I get this from, right? It can be really, Fam, you mentioned you were working till 2 o'clock in the morning on your paper. So, you know, when it's 2 o'clock in the morning, things get really confusing, right?
Yes.
And I remember that from 5 years ago, finishing my master's degree. So make sure you get your source in there and your quote that is in that source. Like, try to keep that all together. I'm going to use a color on that. I'm going to use a nice red because it's important. And there it is. That's Tintin. If you need to support what you're writing about, that is an excellent place to do it. So Tintin, let me just go back to your original writing and share that with everybody. All right, Tintin. So there it is. Inflation can cause major problems on poor families. And Tintin, I'm going to paste in that whole block quote because it works really well. Well, I'll give you the source, okay? And this would work really nicely. Now remember, don't just, Tintin, you know I don't even have to say this to you, but you know, when you put this quote in, you should change the wording, right? It's not just copying. Tintin, you already knew that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you would never want to just copy this, 100%. You would want to change the words on this a little bit. Okay, and we'll put that in quotes because that's someone else's writing, but it works really well with your essay. Okay, Tintin chose another topic here. You did the heavy fishing and the ecosystems. Tintin, this is really interesting because we talked about this in my debate class last summer, or my writing class. It was, should governments around the world help their fishermen to stop fishing so much fish out of the oceans? Tintin, do you know if you live in Germany, but do you know has the Vietnam government asked people to stop, the fishermen don't catch so much fish? Are they doing that? Do you know?
I'm not very sure because I do not watch very much news.
Yeah, okay. Let's ask one of the students, Rick or Lou or Kevin or Pham. Has the Vietnamese government asked the fishermen not to fish so much fish?
No, at this times they haven't mentioned about this topic yet.
Okay. Overfishing. Let's see, we'll call this overfishing. Let me show you my wording, how I do a Google search, because it's important. Sometimes if you get the wording just right, it can save you a lot of time. Some students say, I can't find anything on this topic, teacher. So overfishing, solutions, overfishing in aquatic ecosystems, fishermen catching too much. Okay, I'll tell you what, Tintin, if you're feeling okay, can you read these points here?
Overfishing can have a devastating impact on aquatic ecosystems, including food web imbalance. When too many fish are caught, it can create an imbalance in the food web, which can lead to the loss of other marine life, such as sea turtles and corals. Biodiversity loss. Overfishing can affect the biodiversity of an ecosystem, including species that are caught unintentionally, such as endangered sharks, rays, and turtles. Ecosystem collapse. When one fish species is removed from an ecosystem, it can lead to the collapse of the entire ecosystem. Community disruption. Overfishing can have a devastating impact on communities that rely on fishing for their livelihoods. For example, the collapse of the Grand Banks cod fishery in Canada in 1992 left over 35,000 people without jobs. Price increases. As the supply of fish decreases, the price of fish can increase. Overfishing can have a huge impact on the climate, as burning fuel or fishing emits millions of tons of CO2 each year.
Yeah.
Overfishing is caused by poor fishing management and can be addressed by using smarter management systems, such as fishing rights. Fishing rights tie fishermen's interests to the long-term health of the fishery.
Yeah, excellent, Tintin. So do you see this one, community disruption? This one's really important to me because in Japan back in 1992, I knew about 5 Canadian guys who were going to be school teachers in East Canada, but they couldn't find any jobs teaching because all the fishing families moved away to the big cities of Canada because there were no more fish. They had to take day jobs working on buildings and construction, really hard dirty work, and some of these men were in their 50s and 60s. So the 5 guys came to Japan to teach English because there was no more work. So this is why issues like this are really important. They're still really important to talk about. Now, Tintin, if you need a source, this one is excellent, the World Wildlife Fund. Again, this is a really credible source. Remember, we're talking about credible sources. So Tintin, this would be an excellent one. Just reading the quick thing here. Fishing is one of the most significant drivers of declines in ocean wildlife populations. Catching fish is not inherently bad for the ocean, except for when vessels catch fish faster than stocks can be replenished. Sometimes something called overfishing. Okay, so Tintin, I would take that definitely if you had to give a source to your teacher for your paper, if I can get this. I can't get my sources thing down here where I got it from. So Tintin, I highlight that and I take that and then I go back to your original work and I'm going to put, should humans stop overfishing? And I'm going to put that here. Tintin, I'm also going to take the thing I was saying before that sometimes when you're writing late at night, you say, why did I copy this source? Why did I copy this link? I don't even remember why I did this. And so then it's always a good idea to paste 1 or 2 paragraphs there to help you. So Tintin, let me show you your original paper now. And we'll just do this 2 times for Tintin's paper. Okay, so Tintin, I put that worldwide overfishing thing, and then there are about 3 big size paragraphs to help you. So you're ready to go, Tintin. You can do any of these topics because you chose to talk about, let's see, you did number 2, human overfishing, and should inflation on good things. Tintin, also, if your teacher said you had to choose number 1 or number 2, by getting these quick quotes from really good sources like this, like World Bank, and then also World Wildlife, then you can quickly make your decision. Some students have a difficult time. Their teacher will say, did you decide what topic you want? And 5 days later, the student says, I don't know, teacher. I just don't know what to write about. If you just do a little quick Google search, you can get some really good results, right? So that's something to help you, some advice. Now, there's one more thing I want to do before we introduce the assignment for today. I want to go to V's assignment. V, I also liked your writing. I thought it was quite good. You put it in the Google Documents, but then I think I changed it to a Word file, V. And so let me go to the Word file. And this is V. Oh, yes, this some students did this. I really enjoyed this. The assignment was to provide an outline. V, is your microphone okay? I don't know if V's microphone is okay or not. Let me see who's would like to read. Kevin, would you like to read?
Okay.
Okay, it's 3 paragraphs, but V
Okay.
did a really nice job on this. So
We are aware of the advantages of the loving camp corrections for objectionable behavior in children, but it is always much depends over the benefits or drawbacks of physical punishment for kids. Thesis. In addition to causing the bodily pain, corporal punishments impair children's mental well-being and social skills. Frequently, spanked children are more likely to experience anxiety, despair, and low self-esteem. When faced with obstacles and challenges, they quickly become demoralized and powerless. Children with this psychiatrists, disorders frequently lack of confidence in their ability to learn new skills in life, which hinders their growth. Conversely, children who have never experienced spanking exhibit greater confidence and self-worth. Instead of avoiding or giving up when faced with challenges, they frequently actively look for answers. This mental condition had undoubtedly established a strong basis for their subsequent growth.
Mm.
Behavior. Children who are spanked regularly are more likely exhibit and bad behavior. They are more likely to skip school, fight, steal, and other behaviors. These behaviors often lead to them being rejected and isolated in school and the community. On the contrary, children who have never been spanked have a greater sense of morality and responsibility. They know how to respect others, are more willing to help others, and are more willing to take on their responsibility. Adaptability in the social situations. Frequently, spanked children are more often less able to adjust to the social situations when they encounter unfamiliar circumstances or relationships. They quickly to get breathless and become uneasy. They struggle to fit in and find secure and meaningful place in the society because of this circumstance. Conclusion. The family is the foundation of child development, and hence the family environment is critical to a child's development. To ensure that the children grow up contentedly, we should endeavor to provide a loving, caring family atmosphere. Naturally, every children is unique in their personality and upbringing, and the home education approach, at least for the basic life skill, is only one aspect of this. Furthermore, family education as a virus acceptance and a support are constant aim to develop children's moral character, independent thinking, and adjustment in addition to teaching them to follow norms. And that's all.
Yeah, it's nice. Good reading. Thank you. You're a good reader. You read with
Okay.
character. So what V did is she pretty much has it finished for a nice, for a presentation or a speech or a one-page essay. It's excellent. V, if your instructor, your teacher said, please expand this to 3 pages, it's easy enough to do because you could take each of these topics, psychology, behavior, adaptability. And if I chose this one here called behavior, I could expand that into a Google search. Remember, the most important thing is a good Google search. A good Google search will help you to save so much time and confusion when you're writing. So for my Google search here, I'm going to do a new Google search, and I'm going to write this: positive behavior corrections for children. How to improve bad behavior without spanking. And so then we go to here, and it's called Positive Behavior Strategies, a guide for teachers. That's for teachers. Child and Family Center. Yeah. Oh, this one's really good. Okay, look at this is the mentalhealth.com. I thought this was the see, the problem with these sources that I have here, Corrections Child and Family Center. Okay, I've never heard of this before, so I don't know if it's any good. Let's take a look at it and see if this is a good source. Child and family, is this what's called a credible meaning it has good information? I honestly don't know. Is this who wrote this article? Is it a recognized doctor, psychologist? Who wrote this? This looks like it's a pretty serious website, but who is the author of this article? I don't know if I would choose this one because we don't know who wrote this, right? And it's important to know who wrote this. This is just written by the website. So I'm going to skip this one. I don't really like it. I'm going to go back. here. One moment, please. And I'm going to find another one because I don't know if it's credible or not. How about this one? A guide for teachers. Yes, Amanda Morin. We have a name. We have expert reviewed. Oh, these are the magic words, everybody. Expert reviewed by Jerome Schultz, PhD. So we know that this is a good one because Amanda Marin, a specialist in children's education, wrote it. And then Jerome Schultz, who holds a PhD, he took a look through it and gave her suggestions. So it has been closely monitored, and you have all of these topics to work with. So I'm going to say, yes, this is an excellent source to use because it is what's called peer reviewed. Let me put this one in your chat. It's called peer reviewed. And you probably know this one. Kevin, you're working on your PhD now in Czech Republic.
Yes.
So you know this magic word, right? Peer, I can't say peer review.
Yeah. Like peer reviewer. Yeah.
So one reviewer, two reviewers. So for Tintin's work, we found our reviewer. It's beautiful. I'm sorry, for V, we have a peer-reviewed thing to help your thing. So behavior corrections, we could easily drop that nice article here, and we're going to use that right there. Okay, and then you can go to that. And then again, following my own advice, I'm breaking my own advice, everybody. My advice was copy a little bit of this and then put that in your work so you don't get confused and say, why did I put this post? Why did I post this link in? Why did I do this, right? And so again, try your best to just get maybe one or two paragraphs pasted in from the original story. And there it is, that should help you. Okay. And that's how you put in your sources. Okay, any questions so far? Because I have an exercise for you. Now, we can do as much of this in class as you want, and then that way you don't have to do as much homework. If we do have to do this as homework, it's not terribly difficult homework. Let me show you what that homework is. Before the homework causes you any stress, I will show you what that is. So if we go back to the notes here that we've been working on, and I'll scroll up. Assignment. Write a comparative analysis of two sources, only one or two paragraphs. Let's take 10 minutes and work on that together now. Compare two sources, right? So do you remember before I did two sources for FAM? I actually three sources. Uppsala in Sweden, World in Data, and then the United Nations, okay? Of these sources, I already looked at these sources. They're kind of interesting. I would say Uppsala is better for FAM's work than this United Nations work. So if I'm doing the homework, what I would do is to answer the homework question, compare two sources, right? So assignment. Let me put this in share. Sorry about that. Assignment. Okay, assignment. Compare two sources, and you decide which is the better source. Okay, so I'm kind of helping FAM do her homework here. FAM will say, I find, well, this is Brendan. I'm going to say Brendan because FAM, you don't have to use this as your answer. I find the Uppsala University source to be a better source because it has quick data in a graph that supports my thesis that life expectancies are longer in the 21st century because there are less large-scale wars. But recently, in the last 2 years, it's not true with Ukraine and Israel problems, right? So, okay. The United Nations okay, that's the best I could come up with just a paragraph. The United Nations asks, what is violence? You know, this kind of thing. It's not a really good source. That Uppsala University one is much better. So that would be my paragraph. It's quite easy. It's not so difficult. So for the next 5 or 10 minutes, can you compare two sources that you're interested in? Anything you want. You could say, you know, I read these 2 financial articles. This one's quite good for my research, my work. This one is not so good because why is that? And you could put your answers in chat if you want to. Kevin, are you doing a lot of research recently?
So we have a little of the research, so we have to do some the round of the review. So it's that I did it is rejected.
All right, terrific idea. Thank you. Make me feel good
No.
as a teacher, Kevin. Hey, Kevin, can you tell me what's a not so good source and what's a good source in your research?
As in the research, you will choose from to the top journals such as the source from the World of Science or the Stroll Google. You will find the lots of the best paper, and
Okay.
this is the good resource for you to reference.
Is that Faber?
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
I came across Faber too.
famous journal,
Yeah,
and the
they're from
top the list of the journal in
yeah,
the industry. So.
they're from Switzerland. Are they Faber?
Such as Web of Science, or the Scopus list.
Uh, do you have to pay to use those sources?
As it display the majors in majors in fields from the industry. You can find something the uh proper.
Yeah,
Uh,
Faber from
yeah,
Switzerland. They always had great articles to support, but to read the actual article, you had to pay a
yeah,
subscription. And I was a poor student, Kevin. I couldn't do it.
yeah.
So, and it's really fast too. Hey, Rick, are you doing any research for finance?
From my perspective, I will use the data from ranking publishers. We1, we2, or various or most cited publisher or journals.
Okay.
Is it rather than is it favorable than the newspaper or some personal blogs?
Rick, I wrote this
Um,
from
yeah,
publishers.
or we can use the data from the general statistic authorities by governments
Hmm.
by the governments.
Uh, nice. Okay. General statistics, hard to say that word, statistical sources from the
Yes.
government. Yeah. You could say highly reliable and accurate. All right. Very good. Hey, Ellis put something in here. Ellis, humans should stop fishing and start recycling rubbish for the oceans. Web sources, bbc.com, future article. Hey, Ellis, I have to be careful if I try to put that in. I'm going to copy the source, but I have to be careful because sometimes it knocks me out of Zoom when I do that. So, Ellis, I'm going to see if I can paste it in here with no problems. Okay, and then Ellis, I'm going to do my own search, what you just put here. Ellis, can you say why you think this is a good source?
Because it is a famous television show in England.
Oh, really? Okay. And do
Yeah.
scientists contribute to it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to put her thing in the search here then. And this is from Ellis. And let's take a look at the site and see if we can find some famous names here. BBC. Yeah, here Zaria is a features correspondent. And there you go. It's Hammerhead Sharks. Very good. Now, does she use any sources that are from, let's find a good source within her article. Sometimes on these BBC things, it says, for further reading, search these things here. Well, we could do this, Ellis. We could go like that. And now we're going to go to a fishing reserve. And that is the Marine National Monument. This is news by their website. This is in a Pacific country, but I don't know what this one is. Ellis. Do you see that really long name?
It sounds very funny.
Yeah, doesn't it? It's Papahuna Muna Muna Kea. That's definitely like from Fiji or something, right? Or Tahiti. Wow. Okay, this looks really good. So this is pretty good, Ellis, because you can see the person who wrote it, and this is pretty good. Read more. Let's see. Exit notice. Oh, hey, this is really interesting. Ellis, do you see what that note? This is actually NOAA. Let's go back to that quote. Do you see why this one's really important? This is NOAA, NOAA. This is America's national oceanic thing here. This is an excellent source, current projects. So here, let me just go back and show you that, Ellis. We'll cancel that. NOAA, its name is NOAA. So let me stop that and I'll just type it here in chat. Ellis, if you need a source, NOAA is an excellent source. I use NOAA in my research for climate change in the oceans. So it's a National Oceanic Atmospheric Agency. So National Aquatic National Oceanic Atmospheric Agency. So, Ellis, this is one of the reasons I do not like Donald Trump, because he wants to close this research agency that studies atmosphere and ocean changes. And he doesn't like that because he doesn't believe in climate change. So I think that's very dangerous. So yeah, NOAA would be an excellent source, Ellis, if you were doing ocean. And that's also for Tintin if he was doing that. Okay. All right. Any questions? Can I leave you with that homework then? If you can just compare two sources. And so what I'm asking is, what do you think is a so-so not very good homework, not very good source versus what is a good source? So here, the question is quite simple. Homework question. Describe two sources to support your academic writing. One is weak or only so-so, and the other is quite good. Oh. Okay, it's simple enough. Describe two sources to support your academic writing, any subject you're interested in. One is weak or only so-so. The other is quite good. It's a strong source. Can you describe why one is only fair or so-so while the other is good? What do you think? Ellis, good homework assignment for you?
Yeah, I think it's very
because if you're busy in school, that's a nice one paragraph response, Okay. All right, everybody. Any questions? I think it's a pretty good pretty good in English, American English, we say straightforward. Straightforward topic. It's direct. You can quickly answer that question without too much difficulty. Okay, any questions from our class, from V and Ellis and Kevin and Rick? On what's a good source? Lou, Elvin, Pham, and Pham An Phuong. So Pham, good luck with your paper on aging societies, lifetime. Tintin, I hope you feel better. Tra, good work. Tra, will correct your essay after class, okay? It just came in about an hour ago. So Tra, I promise I will correct your essay, all right? Okay, can I say goodbye to everybody? Goodbye, Ellis. Goodbye, Lou and Kevin.
Goodbye, teacher.
Bye, Ryoko.
Teacher.
Take care,
Bye.
everyone.
Goodbye,
Thanks.
teacher.
Bye-bye, Kevin. Bye-bye, Rick. I hope
Goodbye.
it's good for you. Bye-bye, Mr. Elvin and Pham.